I don't want to do 720. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the Real Randy Chavez, coming with my homies Crypto Rain and Doctor of Stuff for the OMI is my homie episode 22. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways or Patreon, smashing that super thanks button down below, super chats as well. The rules are we'll talk for whatever, and we'll try to get the comments as we can. If you don't have time for that, it's like I just have a quick comment. You could just do like a $2 super chat. We'll get to it right away, and then we'll go continue on. Gentlemen, today we are going to go over some OMI burns, MCP, do's and don'ts, the wrongs and rights, other stuff continuing to VeVe, and more. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Yeah, man. I'm doing well. I'm stoked to be with you, gentlemen.
Yeah, same. Excited to be here. To break it off, we have Binance, and I think I talked about this with Rain a few days ago. Binance is adding support for fixed rate loans. So most likely it'll start with Bitcoin, maybe ETH, but probably a lot of the top 10. But if you have a certain amount of crypto, Binance will go in and give you maybe 50% loan to value for it. So you don't have to do it at a bank. You could just do it over at Binance itself. Unsure if they'll give you BNB, USDC, USDT, but I'm assuming either of those or maybe all of them. Dangers of this, potentially good things that come of this for your average retail investor. What are you guys thinking?
So these are loans where they can borrow against their crypto?
Yes.
That is a hot stove. And in theory, it's great. Like Michael Saylor made some big bets. He took a low leverage loan against his Bitcoin. Keep in mind, it almost went poorly for him. Why? When you're borrowing against highly volatile assets, you're in a risky position. And in theory, it's like this great idea that, wow, you can borrow against your Bitcoin and buy more Bitcoin. But if you get a strong wick down, you're going to get liquidated. Now, there is a company called Bumper that is doing an innovation that you could then insure your price of your Bitcoin. And therefore, when that is more broadly available, never get liquidated. I like the idea of that. But for now, I've seen a lot of people get their loans liquidated before. And so it's like, it's not bad for Binance. Binance can do that. And they, they're holding the reserves. They can always liquidate those things and make money for Binance. But people that try doing that, it works out really well. If you do it in a bull run and you don't get liquidated, it's a risky position.
So I'm just looking this up because it's the first I'd heard of it. But it looks like they're only lending against like USDC and then FDUSD, which is Binance's stablecoin.
Okay.
Which is backed by US dollars. So it's not going to carry the same risk like Rain was talking about with like the volatility, right, of crypto coin. Now, there were some banks for a while that did have a Bitcoin-backed lending product, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And that was Silicon Valley Bank, I think, which was one of the ones that almost failed in 2023. It ended up kind of surviving, but then unwinding. So anyways, interesting stuff, but that just goes to show you, yeah, like Rain was saying, the volatility, it's a lot different because you have this, you have those type of products in TradFi with stocks, right? And with like low LTVs, but like stocks just in general don't have the same volatility that crypto, like the daily swings that can happen there. So I would be very, very shocked and surprised if any non-financial institution tried doing it like a crypto-backed lending product, just because the cost of capital is so high with that, and the risk tied to it is so high. So interesting.
Yeah. So if you think about it, you can borrow from your stable coins alone, and it's like, why would you borrow? Be paying interest against your stable coins. So that part I don't get.
So they're not the only company to do this. Recently, we had Bitline put out a thing on Yahoo Finance saying that they partnered with Definity Markets, aka the Definity token that does sponsor my channel. I think Rain's as well. and they're doing something where if you have a certain amount of crypto, and maybe some Definity as well, you may or may not be able to get discounts. I'm not sure yet. But if you have a certain amount of crypto, you'll be able to go to casinos, and then you'll be able to say like, hey, can we get some gaming chips and use our crypto as collateral? And you'll be able to do that. So again, the CEO of Bitline was really excited about that. I'm not 100% sure which casinos that's going to be. I don't know if that's going to be anywhere where Definity is located over in the UK. It was going to be anywhere in the US. But you could borrow up to $10 million for that, and this is, I'm guessing, really only for like the high end people. But they're not the first company to do that. We'll probably make a video on that at some point.
That makes perfect sense, because a lot of gamblers are also in the crypto space. And so, as we were talking to Manu a while ago, Manu was telling us that these gamblers often go to like big tournaments that have like a $1 million or $2 million that you got to front up front. And they're like, hey, can I send it in Bitcoin? And they haven't been able to custody the Bitcoin in any way. And so they had to say no. And so this announcement allows that to be the case, that yes, they can send it in Bitcoin now, which is awesome.
Heck yeah. And then you have eToro that's reaching, they have reached a $1.5 million settlement with the SEC, agrees to stop trading most cryptocurrencies. Are any of you guys on eToro, or any of your Patreons or people in your community? All right, cool beans. Glad to see that. I'm not sure if this sets any precedent or if you guys knew anything about that. Basically, the SEC found that eToro had allowed U.S. customers to trade crypto assets being offered and sold as securities.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm just like, oh, no. The SEC is trying to protect us from the big bad eToro that let us trade cryptocurrency. Oh, bless their hearts. Gary Gensler, you just really are looking out for the U.S. people.
Speaking of the U.S. people, in the presidential debate on Tuesday, there was actually no mention of crypto. I figured that has been a ubiquitous term and would have been large enough for people to at least make the debate. So there's been a lot of stuff about that online. There's been a lot of political strife about that. Because we're like all in on crypto. Is this something that maybe we're overestimating the importance of it? Because it didn't make the debate. Even though there was a couple of things that made the debate that wasn't brought up in a question, the candidates just kind of like to go off the rails on doing their own thing. But yeah, it wasn't even brought up. Is that where you guys at all?
I mean, let's be real. Was ABC News going to bring up something that would make Kamala Harris look bad and Trump look good?
That is a good point.
Man, yeah, you don't want me to go down that rabbit hole. I spent several hours dissecting kind of that interview and obviously looking at commentary on both sides of the aisle. So yeah, like Rain said, they weren't going to bring that up, and honestly, it's not one of the hot topics. Like I'm glad that they talked about the economy a little bit, even though one of the candidates legitimately sidestepped that question, and the moderators did not do a follow-up or anything, which is like, that's crazy to me. That's one of the most important, I think is actually the top worry for voters, and the moderators just let one candidate sidestep that. So but that being said, Trump just announced, right? Did you not see this? He announced, because he has, this is gonna be weird, but he has this World Financial Coin, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard about this? Right. And so he just made an announcement today about it. And so I am really hoping that he's got some solid advisors, because we cannot have another issue where Gensler's able to go after Trump on this, during the election period. But I think that it is a strong focus for one of the candidates, just in general. And if one of the candidates is literally launching a token about this, you better believe that they're going to be looking at the regulations and making it a point to add clarification to this space, which is so desperately needed.
Yeah. They want to make finance great again. The World Liberty Financial, the Telegram, the token, they'll be going live with Trump on September 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I cannot wait for that. I'm very excited. I'm in their Telegram. I love it. Anyway, bringing it over to, I guess we'll start with the VeVe before we make our way to OMI. We had my Collectibles had posted the other day, in one sentence, please share what you love most about collecting VeVe digital comics. This is for research purposes. Me and Rand talked about this the other day, just based on how digital collecting, a lot of ways, can be a lot better than physicals, just because they don't get destroyed. They always stay in perfect condition. But Doc, what about you? You've recently also been vocal about the Aliens vs. Avengers comic, which I love. But what do you love most about it?
I mean, I think that's the case. So I have said multiple times throughout the years, I've talked about this stash of comics that I had that I thought my mom threw away, right? And I recently found those comics. Like, I thought that they were gone, right? Let me show you the condition that they're in. Now when I bought these like brand new, okay? I bought these brand new. Let me show you the condition. So you got Spider-Man 2099.
Cool.
It's in, like, I mean, it's not great, right? I mean, definitely nowhere in the nines. The Soul Skinner FA appearance, right? Like I looked at all of these, and some of these are reprints, right? Superman versus Flash, and so this one, actually, this Superman one is probably one of the better conditions. I've looked all of these up, right? I'm like, dude, did I somehow, when I was 10 years old, able to get like Deadpool, like #1, right? New Mutants or anything? Like, no. Like, I'm looking at some of these, and like I do remember, like, some of them just were like, I just thought that they looked super cool too. Like, I love Colossus, and this I love this. I love this cover. Such an epic cover. But anyways, where I'm going with that, right, is they are not in good condition, and I love the fact that I legit don't have to worry about that, going forward. Now, I mean, I have been buying more physical comics, and I'm taking a lot better care of them. But that's one of the biggest things that like I love, and the fact that I can just carry those comics around and access them at any time. So when I'm on an airplane or something, I'm like, I'm just gonna like read one of these comics and throw that out there. But you guys keep chatting, because I got to show off some of the comic purchases I've made.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Rain, the other day we had a announcement about Happy Tree Friends, and something that has it's a crafting module. You'll be able to go in, if you get all 3 of these Happy Tree Friends from the store, you'll be able to craft. And if you craft that secret rare, there's only 109 of them. You also get 100,000 MCP points. There's been a lot of back and forth about this, whether it was a good or bad idea. My Collectibles says we have to consider that there are a lot of collectors on the platform and in the community who are not whales, do not have the ability to stack collectibles for massive MCP, and these are going to be the types of opportunities to help them compete. Otherwise, only top players will be able to win. It is about balance. Now, I think a counter argument to this is that whales can just buy this anyway. Like, it's not really a game of chance for a whale if they could just buy it to get those MCP points. And this also, if they weren't already hyperinflationary, which they are, putting in, again, you have 100,000, there's going to be 109 of these. You're actually putting in another 11 million MCP points into the system. So I do not like it, but I want to hear your thoughts.
It's early enough. I need to see more cause and effect with them giving MCP points for crafting, like big values like this. like you said, the whales can just go in there and they can buy this collection and add to them. Can someone else? Yeah, kind of. If they get the secret rare, right? So non-whales can probably afford the secret rare, and this is a way for them to then get a whole bunch of MCP points. But how much are they going to spend for that? And remember, often in the crafting in this slower time on the VeVe marketplace, you end up behind. So like if you crafted, what was it? The Thanos, you could have just bought the Thanos later for a lot cheaper than what the components to craft it. Now, if you did craft it, well, then at least you have like a virgin mint, right? So it hasn't been held by any other wallets. Perhaps at some point that has value when you go to sell it, but maybe it doesn't. So, you know, when we were talking about this, I was like, I'm just going to wait. Like some people really like the crafting, and for them, that's cool. I'm more as an investor. I love to see increase in value over what I pay for things. So for me, I'd just rather buy it later. Yeah. Like 3 months from now when nobody's thinking about it.
Agreed. Doc, you find some stuff there?
So happy.
Did you go to your local comic book store, or did you order that on eBay?
No, I went to my local comic book store and they still had this.
Wow.
So they only had one copy left.
Yeah.
Scotty Young. So I picked that up. I also picked up some different rarities of Exceptional X-Men, right? So, I mean, this is the foil cover, but like I've got like the 1 of 50, which is like a virgin cover, and
wow.
I'm going to order the Rose Besh 1 of 100, which is also a virgin cover of her, which is beautiful, and then like I want to get it signed. Hopefully at New York Comic Con if Rose Besh is there, and then get that graded. But and then I've got like, I mean, obviously it was interesting. I was talking to the comic book store owner because I've been reading all of the X-Men 97. I love the TV series of it. And then Rain was with me with this. Shout out to Vincent Zerzulo, right? The Addiction comic. I don't know if you can see this, but they're signed by David and Vincent and David Quinn there. So we've got that Addiction comic. We've also got the red version VeVe cover there. And David, if I didn't say that, he's on that as well. And then Jose Labrada, who is actually the artist for this cover, got him to sign that as well. And he's the one who actually did this X-Men 97 #1 commission for me of Wolverine. So, and then I, with that X-Men 97, like I got the 9.8. So, VeVe's turned me into a collector, which is good and bad because, as you see, like I don't have a lot of space. I don't have a lot of space for these things. I'm like tripping over myself as I'm trying to like buy these boxes to stack some of these comics, and but I love it, man. Like I just enjoy it, and it's been fun getting to know the comic book shop owner, and I'm slowly trying to like talk to him about digital and trying to get him to download the VeVe app. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, that's the thing with these. I called my local comic book store as well, and I called a couple of them because one of them, even after the first week, they were out of the Aliens vs. Avengers. And I called another one. I was like, am I really going to do this? Because if I start once, I'm going to keep on doing it again and again. And I just didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. But speaking of comics, we have a bounty that has been raised for the second time. Fantastic Four number 48. The mint number 1966. That's the publishing year.
64.
This is the first appearance of the Galactus.
1964 is the mint number that they're looking for the bounty.
Comics and Crypto put number 1966.
Wait,
did he trip out? Did he make a mistake?
Maybe.
But, I mean, even on
I'm sure I made the mistake.
On the picture,
I made a mistake.
So anyway.
Okay, yeah, keep going.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm just scared there. Anyway, he started it off at 1,000, and I guess every time he raises it, a couple more people do some buying. He raised it to 1,500 because there's 10,000 of these and only like 3,500 were sold. So there's like 6,000 left, and there's like $20 each comic. So it's, can get expensive pretty quickly. Raised it to 2,000. I haven't taken a look at this in a bit. Last time I checked, there were over 6,000 left. If I type in number 48 and go to comics, I should be able to see it. Yeah, 6,094 left. But $2,000 for this.
So I got confused because they offered a bounty for Mysterio number 1964. I was like, dude, I know I saw that mint number. So I'm glad that you clarified. Good call. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are, I don't know. I get it. This is kind of a big one because it's, the coming of Galactus, but you have 10,000 of these at $20 each. $200,000 is a lot. And even with this bounty, it's only at, like, if you wanted to clear it out, you have to spend $121,000, which is, it's quite a lot. The mint numbers are very interesting because for the Mysterio one, they had it at 3,000 comics, $7, sold out instantly. Everyone is happy about it. And then like the next comic that they did for like a less key version, it was like 5,000 mints. They just increased it. I know you can't please everyone. How does VeVe go and try to please as many people as possible while also netting something that still keeps them in the black?
I think it's important. Like, look, when you say keeps them in the black, they were doing a lot of these drops for $6.99, right? So if they were doing those drops like that, I mean, well, granted, they had a lot higher mint numbers when they did that. So, yeah, I guess like it's tough to say, like, without knowing kind of what the break-even cost on that is, to then give like an opinion as to where they can work with stuff. I mean, look, we're constantly seeing them try different things, with the MCP points, like with prices and the number of editions, with the rarities that they have, right? And the number of rarities, as they're still trying to navigate this bear market and, like, the users who are here and keeping them interested while still trying to sell this out. I mean, $20 for this comic, like that's a lot,
Yeah.
And especially with 10,000 mints. And I say that's a lot, like, because even if you're comparing, I mean, DC just did a drop with the FA of the Batmobile. That was $20, but they had 3,000 editions, Now I would definitely, I think that this is a bigger, more important comic. So, like, yeah, man, like, I'm not gonna pretend like I have the answers on this, because I need more information before I could give really what I feel like would be good insight into, hey, what are some of the things that they could try.
Yeah. What about you, Rain? Oh, Rain, you're on mute.
Pricing of the comics is interesting, right? So I think they should have both a short-term and long-term view. Like, the lower number of mints that they do, it actually increases the sales price of those down the road because they are more scarce, and they do make a percentage every time things change hands. So I think they should err on the side of lower mint numbers. That means less upfront revenue. It's true. Over the long run, I think it means just as much revenue, perhaps even slightly more, if some of the lower mints, they become more popular because there's less of them, and they trade hands for a lot more and for a lot more money. So I don't know, like, when things are slow, I don't like to see things with so many mints that they sit on the market and sit on the market and sit on the market. There's some advantages to that people can come in and they can still pick it up. Oh, I missed it. And it's, a week later and they can still buy it. And there's some disadvantages to it. I'd prefer them to err on the side of lower mints, but that's just the collector / investor in me. Yeah. I would rather buy it and know that there's a lower number of mints, so in the future it's far more scarce. Same. So I'm highly biased towards that answer personally.
Great. We'll have one more question, and it'll lead into the 3 billion OMI. We could bring it up now. 3 billion OMI has been burnt. This is something that was left over. This is not coming out of the 5.5 billion OMI that is supposed to be burnt from the business development wallet that they told us about that like a year ago. And this did not come from the team either. This came from VeVe Meister. It came from just the community. And the reason I bring this up is because there is the other day, VeVe Digital Collectibles posted, hey, take a closer look at Happy Tree Friends and all this. And David had answered, and that was not the only thing he had answered. Somebody else had commented down below, like, hey, can we get an AMA? Can we get this? Can we get more communication? And David just smiled like a handshake, a wink, and that alluding to that something like that might come. Is this something that the team should have announced, the 3 billion OMI, or is it more fun that the community goes in and discovers it?
Okay, are we really sure that it's actually like burned OMI? I'm trying to look for a comment that Foster had made that I thought that we had. I'm trying to look for this. So continue on while I look for this.
So it's a little over 3 billion due to tokens being stuck on the bridge from Immutable X burn wallet to layer 1 ETH burn wallet. So those count in circulating supply while they're stuck there. And that's the 3 billion that was done. Like that's the one that was removed. It should have never been there in the first place. But it had counted towards the circulating supply. And that's why. There
you go. Okay, so that's that clarification. It had counted towards the circulating supply. So I think that there was like I wish that they would have made that clear, that there would have been kind of like a formal announcement as to what that is. I think that's part of these things where like I do wonder why, like I feel like that could have been a pretty easy win to communicate that and be like, hey guys, just so you know, you're gonna see this happen. Here's why. Because regardless of how it's couched, like I still think that people would have just been like, dude, sweet, 3 billion OMI were just burned. You know? And I think that could have lifted sentiment a little bit. So a little surprised that they didn't take advantage of that.
What about you, Rain?
I'm okay with them like letting these things happen. I just wish they had clarified right after, like people noticed it and stuff, exactly what it was. And maybe that's why we do now know is that they did clarify it. So cool. Like I like surprises like that. You get more long-term by surprising people in good ways. So it's actually goes in the psychology of people behavior. So it's how do you dict people to you? And it's reward them inconsistently. So
what's up, Sleepin'? How's it going, Pam? For me, if I look at it from like a gaming perspective, there's two ways to look at it. It's nice to be able to get, like if it's a hard game, to buy a manual and see like, hey, here's a secret item here, here's something over here, I can get extra points here. But it is more fun to grind at a game and just to look at everything. You talk to every NPC, you press A where the invisible item may or may not be, and sometimes you surprise yourself. And that was, I think, the most fun. I think it is more fun when the community discovers it, but that's just my own opinion because I'm not worried about the price of the token. I'm not worried about the future of the company, where many others are. Despite me screaming from the hills, everything's going to be okay. Not financial advice. But yeah, I'm curious to see if they do any types of AMAs or anything of that sort. Anyway, moving on. We have a ice hockey curious always be leaving. We have a bunch of sales for other NFTs. They're not on VeVe. There were $500,000, $1 million, and $1.4 million worth of CryptoPunks. These are things that had very specific traits. They're very rare. They're very scarce. So maybe they're not money laundering things. Maybe it's something that just happens to actually be worth it for some of these people. There is a lot of money going into NFTs. I think when OMI to NFT comes out over on StackR, we might see a couple of these because we have a bunch of really scarce items. Like we have the 107 James Bond stuff. We have just secret rare Spider-Man stuff. If Marvel allows all that stuff, we're not 100% sure yet. When do you think it comes to us? Do you think like flippers need to come out? Do you think like whale manipulators need to come for it to kick off? Or is it just, do we have enough cool IP that stuff's going to come anyway without Team Rocket coming in?
It won't necessarily come at the same time as the NFT run comes. A lot of the NFT will be focusing on like things on ETH and other things like Solana. And then somebody will notice, oh my gosh, this stuff on VeVe. And then some money will probably cascade at some point down the road. And that's kind of how it played out last time. My guess is it'll play like that because it's a very different sandbox. The overall concept is similar, right? NFTs are really just digital collectibles that are verifiable. And VeVe stuff is digital collectibles that is verifiable. VeVe's is in their own sandbox, though they're expanding it through StackR to a second sandbox, which is cool. But it is a different sandbox.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple different ways that we could see potentially like the value of some of VeVe digital collectibles really take off. I mean, if we look back at 2021, one of the reasons I believe that prices got so wild was the amount of liquidity in there, right? And the amount of people there. And so because scarcity, I mean, with supply and demand, right? When you have a scarce item, then the value of that goes up, right? As more and more people want it or are trying to get it, the more people are willing to pay more to be one of the ones who actually get that, right? So how can that demand be driven? It could be that adding utility to these digital collectibles. So, right, like if we see, because I've seen that video of Fortnite and Disney working with Fortnite, and they've got what looks to be the partner statue in this sort of metaverse thing, right? And so if there was some sort of connection there where it was like, hey, the skins, if you have a certain collectible, a secret rare or whatever, or you have the set of Spider-Man, then you get XYZ skin to be used in Fortnite, right? There's only 1,000 of those. And when you have millions of people playing Fortnite and some of those people with loads of money and they want to flex that, right? That's when you can get money in there. So I'm trying to think of different ways, right? Because there's also the crypto way with potential interoperability. I do think that you would get some people, some crypto whales that if they were like, hey, I could literally hold this in my cold storage wallet, right? And take this out. I think that there would be whales in crypto that would then really pay some serious money for that. And we see that because I'm taking this. It's not just me like thinking about this, right? There was a big crypto whale with a lot of apes, Bored Apes at the time. The apes were super high in value. And he said, when Mickey Mouse came out, Steamboat Willie, when they announced Steamboat Willie, which is like late 2021, when VeVe collectibles were starting to go up in price and value, right? And he was like, I will straight up trade one of my apes for the first Mickey Mouse that he thought was on the blockchain. Now, some people were like, hey, it's a walled garden and things. And he's like, oh, okay. So like that to me shows that there are people who would value that, but they want that interoperability. So I think that there's a few different ways that can happen. The other one is even just like a metaverse in general that isn't necessarily tied to a Fortnite or something, where if metaverses or gaming comes into play and the technology gets better and cheaper, which I think is coming. Like that's the thing for me is like that's coming, and especially with the advent like increasing AI and its ability to just do things, I think that the improvements in technology are going to get exponentially better and cheaper. And so once that happens, that's where I see real extreme value in digital collectibles, just in general. And then with the IP that VeVe has, some of these collectibles being really, really highly sought after. But how long that takes, I don't know. With any of those, right?
I think Apple's helping with that because the upcoming iPhone 16 and 16 Pro, you have the models that will have the capability to cast a bunch of those tokenized arts from your ETH wallet to any TV using the White Walls app and an Apple TV receiver. So it's coming. Like it's coming. I don't know when, but hopefully we get that soon. Turtle saying, what are your thoughts on vision.web3 or at polka.web3 doing a giveaway for 20 million OMI? We tried to look for this. I don't know if did you guys hear about that?
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Supposedly he offered a bounty that when he gets to 2,000 subscribers, that then he's gonna, for somebody who had posted, like forwarded that or whatever, he'd pay them 20 million OMI. I just have a hard time believing it. 20 million OMI, that's what, like $12,000 or something? Less than that now, like $8,000 in this market. You could pick up 20 million OMI, but to get to 2,000 subscribers, like I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because he says he'll give 20 million OMI tokens to anyone who likes and retweets this post after I reach 2,000. Yeah, there's no way. I shouldn't have even brought that up, to be honest. Terrell's saying, are we doing any bidding to burn OMI for beer tonight?
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's start advertising this, right? So shout out to the Golden Dragon Club, but they have offered, and we're going to start, like, we need to market this a lot better. I'm sorry, man, things got ahead of me, Turtle, but we're going to start advertising this, because what we're going to do is a competition during next week's live stream for a bid of burning the OMI, and the person who bids that they're going to burn the most OMI will get. What are they getting, Turtle? Or should we pull this up? I want to read it verbatim as to how he said this. But he says as many beers. So Golden Dragon Club, like they and I think it's Turtle. I don't know if anyone else in the Golden Dragon Club is associated with this, but Meta Brew, which is a crypto project, right? It's awesome. It was kind of kickstarted with crypto funds, and basically it's this brewery in Europe, but they will ship you this beer anywhere around the world. And so the deal is, whoever bids to burn the most OMI during the live stream and actually does it, you've got to do it, right? We'll get as many beers as fit into a USPS priority mailbox. And by the way, you must be 21 years of age or older. From just said that. But so it's pseudo sponsorship, like we'll call it that. We'll pretend that the Golden Dragon Club is sponsoring us with this. And but it's a giveaway that we're gonna be doing for 6 weeks in a row, guys.
Oh,
so this is a huge deal. And I love that the community just and especially the Golden Dragon Club, they're constantly trying to offer utility. So look, I purchased it, like full disclosure, like I own a Golden Dragon. I purchased it several $100s. Like the price had already gone up from before they started adding all this utility and things. And look, I love it, man. I love being a part of this club, and just Turtle especially constantly is going out and trying to find ways to help to try to burn OMI. So fam, love you guys to be a part of this, and start bidding it for this. It'll be a fun experiment, and it'd just be fun to start seeing some actual OMI burned, apart from what StackR is doing.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of the 96 gold dragons that are listed, in order to get that, I think like a couple thousand OMI every month for staking it or listing at 88,000. Out of the 96 that are listed, 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 of them are actually listed to like sell. The other 91 are listed at 88,000, which is nuts. That's absolutely bananas. Anyway, we're going to start that, you said, on the 18th on the next OMI is My Homie show. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, let's get that bread. I guess speaking of sponsoring and advertising stuff, is there a way to advertise OMI without getting into much trouble or regulatory waters with the SEC? Because I mean, we have like 170,000 in volume today. The price has been going down and staying steady for several months, if not years. How do we go and bring the excitement back without getting into hot water with the SEC?
I would love to take a stab at this.
Yeah, go.
This is my wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
So and I want to point this out. So there was a comment when I posted kind of the topics that we're going to be talking about, and this one being one of them, right? Like how can OMI be advertised without ECOMI being concerned about putting a target on their back with the regulators? And one of the comments was basically like, well, and let me do it justice, right? Because I don't want to misquote what they said. Let's see. So, where'd this go? Oh, he said, AWC TV says, what are you talking about? This is an excuse. It's already being done without issue. And one of the fallacies, of this space that is constantly believed is because projects are doing it, it's okay. That must mean that it's okay. And the comparison that I give is basically like, look, speeding is against the law, right? And you can sit there and be like, well, that guy sped and he didn't get pulled over, and that lady sped and she didn't get pulled over. So speeding must not be against the law, right? But at some point, people are going to get caught and they're going to get that ticket. But guess what? Like, the ticket could mean the end of your project. So there's a lot of projects out there that like they're just going, they're going all out, and basically they don't care, like, because like they're going to go there, they're going to talk about value, right? And the token going up, and they're going to do this. And if the SEC targets them, they can just throw up their hands and be like, look, guys, sorry, we tried, but look at the regulators. It's all their fault. Thank you for all your money, and we're out. And then they're just going to start a new project and do it all over again, right? But when you have a project that is truly trying to be here long term and is partnered with serious business, real world businesses out there, they have to be very, very careful. So how can they do this, right? Let's get to the meat of the question now. I truly believe that before they can really start talking about OMI in general, they need to have that utility, which is the OMI to NFT. I think that is such a big part of, once they have OMI to NFT, where I can utilize my OMI on a third-party marketplace and purchase this and burn it, and I can do all of these things. That's when I think that they can feel comfortable enough that they can, if the SEC were to go after them, they would say, we are a utility token and we don't fit in this realm that you're talking about, to where then they can more comfortably talk about this. They're still not going to talk about price, guys, and but they're gonna, but could they go to conferences and start talking about, hey, we have this token associated with our project in a way that, you can buy our collectibles on this third-party marketplace using ECOMI, and my guess is that there's going to be arbitrage there where you can actually get it for cheaper if you're buying it on StackR, because there's not that 10% cash out fee. So like, truly for me, that's when I think that now I'll say this. If OMI to NFT comes out, like that utility comes out, and we do not start seeing ECOMI and David, you talking more about the token, I will start asking why. Like what? Because this to me truly is a real legitimate reason. And once that is overcome, I can't think of any other reason why they can't start talking about the token. And I mean, if you want to call it advertising, where they're more free to talk about the token and what the token does, I'll start asking that. I'll be fully transparent, and you guys can clip this and show it to me down the road if you don't like, if for some reason I'm not doing it.
Yeah, same. What about you, Rain?
I just really like to see a change in the SEC. The anti-crypto stance really makes it so hard for these companies to operate. And it's ridiculous how they're trying to take securities laws from the 1930s and stretch them to all of crypto, right? Like they just came out and decided, okay, Bitcoin and ETH, they're not securities, but everything else is. And that's only because they couldn't make ETH a security. They didn't have enough political power. And they're still like gumming up everything. Regulators have two options. There's really a third one, but they can get in the way or they can get out of the way. Now, if they get in the way, sometimes that's good because they can prevent, they can like say, you know what, we need it to go down these pathways so things are more protected. And that's what the regulators are supposed to be there for. It's like giving a person, like instead of having a stoplight where everyone knows, okay, it's red and it doesn't discriminate at all. It's like putting a stop sign in the hand of a crossing guard. And the problem when you do that is then the person can decide to let some people through who are giving political donations to a certain party and stop everyone who is not. And it feels like that describes Gary Gensler really well. I don't want that to be the case, but he was like the CFO for the Hillary Clinton for America campaign. And now he's head of the SEC, and he didn't have any problem with Sam Bankman-Fried, even though Sam Bankman-Fried was like doing all kinds of crazy, shady stuff. Sam Bankman-Fried was giving huge donations to, to Democrats. And so you have Gary Gensler there with the stop sign saying, nothing to see here. Don't look at like me letting certain people pass go and not anyone else because they're not donating to the right parties. That's what it feels like to me. I hope that's not the case and it just looks shady and isn't. Looks shady though. And so I'd like to see Gary Gensler like get ousted and not just some crazy crappy replacement for him that does the same thing, but actually an overhaul of the SEC so that they're really just trying to put guidelines and they stop trying to put the brakes to protect. I don't know if it's a banking industry or if they're just trying to make everyone know that they have to donate to a certain political party in order to pass go or whatever their end goal is. But it looks shady. It feels shady. It all feels wrong to me.
Preach. I had a couple ideas for VeVe a while back. And I think now, because you had DraftKings that had closed up their shop, Immutable X, or at least their NFT shop. DraftKings as a company, $17 billion, they're fine. You had Immutable X close up their that particular marketplace that they had. Hero, which was like $29 a pack. I think with the buy one get one at their discounted rates, it's like less than $7 a pack now. It's like $6.50. So there are some people that don't look into sales. They don't look at the growth of the company, and they just think NFTs are down, vault's down, crypto's down. What's to stop VeVe from going down as well? And again, if you don't look at the details, okay, that's a fair question. If you look into them, you obviously know that they're grossing millions, if not tens of millions of dollars per year. They could raise capital anytime they want, and I think raising capital, even if it's just like $10 or $20 million, is something that would be like, oh, this company's doing really well. People they lost their minds when Recur had raised like $50 million. Like, oh, they raised 50, that's so much money. And again, look what happened because they couldn't take care of their IP. But I think just that act of getting a certain amount of money, and it's not that they're getting that for nothing. They're obviously, they would have to sell a piece of the company. But a lot of other people, they just think that, oh, they got that for nothing. And I think it's about human psychology at that point. I would say on top of that, influencer marketing, like even if they don't do it themselves, if they just have a contract. I mean, last time they had Crypto R Us, they had Logan Paul, had Ben Armstrong, and it wasn't the company that was touting OMI. It was these guys with a bunch of different followers that were doing it. I mean, that's why Mr. Beast has a successful chocolate bar and a burger joint, is because he has 1 billion followers. I think there's a ton of these things that they could do. That's what Earth 2 did to get really big. If they don't want to do it themselves, just have it 1 or 2 people removed. That's fine. If they don't want to do it themselves or even hire somebody out to do that, hire a company out to do that and then have that company's employee do that. So it's 2 times removed. Again, that's just my ideas. I don't know if they're any good or not, but they seem to have worked in the past. And that's it. Love It says my vault value is going up about 22%. Not sure why. Asked if there's new whales in the house. Potential Human had posted about this the other day as well, saying that despite him having the most amount of MCP points that he's had in forever, his level's actually going down. Not his number level, but his diamond. He was at like diamond 2, now he's at like diamond 4, something like that. Have you guys noticed that as well?
Well, so I'm going to give a different perspective on what this could potentially be, because I'm not seeing a big influx of users, to be honest. Now, new whales in the house to where your vault value is going up, maybe like that. That's definitely like one of the scenarios that could be it. But with people getting kicked out of the MCP, the 1% or the master collector, what that potentially means is that the number of active users is going down. So that 1% is smaller. So now you don't fit into that 1%. so you're going to get kicked down to a different rank. With the vault value going up 22%, it could be that one of your collectibles or several of your collectibles that you have, there's been delistings or there's been purchases, and so then the floor is just up on that, right? But like I saw one person who was just like, oh my gosh, like my vault value is at like $99 million because they owned one of the collectibles where like there was only like 2 for sale or something, and both had posted at $99 million. So like it's tough to really truly see what your value is when that happens, when there's some collectibles that you might hold that like just they're not, people aren't listing them, and so if there are lists and they're really high, it's going to affect that vault value there. So just trying to paint a realistic picture as to where we're at, right, in this market. That being said, like I'm buying stuff, right? Like I'm still buying stuff. Like I do believe long term in the vision of digital collectibles, and I love the IP that VeVe continues to get. But I would love to talk about like I don't think that we've gotten to the Steve Jobs quote. Randy,
Oh yeah,
you know.
So
can we talk about that? I think that's a good segue.
Yeah, to read that, Steve Jobs once says, "You've got to start with customer experience and work backwards to the technology. You can't start with the technology and then try to figure out where to sell it." End quote. I'm not sure if David's really done this. I mean, it's very hard in a new emerging market with a new technology to really do that. Like it has to be done first. There can't be any user experience if the technology doesn't exist. But now the technology's been out for several years, and it seems like they keep posting stuff out. And to their credit, they keep trying new different things with MCP points and drops and all these mechanics. But again, it hasn't seemed to be working. What do you guys think of the quote? What do you guys think that they can do to enhance users' experience? Also, Rain, you're on mute.
They've been working on the user experience. I'd love to see what their vision of what they want it to look like is. So I don't have any insight into what's going on with the VeVeverse. And so that might give us some good insight into really what their vision is for what's working like, or what it's going to look like down the road. So I'd say they're doing okay. I mean, we can take our collectibles and put them in augmented reality, which is pretty cool. I'd love to see what their plans are for like virtual reality and other things, or augmented reality glasses and being interoperable, because that is the user experience, right? So what it's going to look like a couple of years down the road from now, I don't know. I imagine they're working on it, and they probably can't share.
So for me, I think it's important to keep people engaged in the app, you know? And so when you talk about user experience, I am pretty surprised, and we'll probably see it on StackR. In fact, I'm sure we're going to see it on StackR, right? But that we don't have the ability to make offers on people, to communicate with others, like in a private, private chat in the app or something, to say, hey, like you're listed this collectible, and do that. Like we have to go off the app to do those type of things. So once StackR becomes even more integrated, and like we could see that, but that's part of the user experience that I think is really missing when we're talking about like collecting stuff, right? Like you go to these Comic-Cons and you can buy these, or like you can trade, you can go to eBay, you can make offers on eBay. People have it listed for something. You can go in and be like, look, I'm not going to pay that, but I'll pay this for it, right? And you can cut deals. And like I see so many posts where people are like, hey, I'm looking for the person with this mint number, and I'm trying to get a hold of them, and I can't. That's really frustrating as part of the user experience. So I feel like there's some low-hanging fruit that VeVe could be tackling right now to get that going. Now, I say that, but I think that a lot of this is going to actually end up happening on StackR. But my question is, what if people want to use gems? You know, like you can't do that on VeVe. I don't understand why. So I definitely think that, like I said, that there's some low-hanging fruit to keep people more engaged in the app and that user experience. Now, that being said, how many people are actually using the VeVe Comics Reader app, right? I mean, like there are things that they've built out, right? There are things that they have built out that could improve that experience. It is way better to read the comics on the VeVe comic reader app than it is. But like, I don't use it as much. Like, you know, I just pull up in the app and I read it there. Right.
Same.
So I want to say, like, here's some ideas that where I think that they could get better, but at the same time, there are some things that they have implemented that people just aren't using, and they're like, well, there's no user experience. They're doing nothing about that. And I'm like, well, are people just not using some of the things that they've brought out there? And that's something to think about as they're trying to put out more things is what is most wanted by the community? Like, what are the things that the community wants that will keep them engaged? But to Rain's point, honestly, once AR and VR really comes out, because I did those Apple Vision Pro, like I did the test run of those, and they are absolutely incredible. But for $3,000, like there's just no way, right? Like I'm not going to pay $3,000 to look at my collectibles. That price has got to come down. But if it gets to like $500, $800, and maybe it's subsidized by like, hey, like you can connect to the internet with it, and so through your telephone company, like they'll help subsidize that. That's when we could see some real big mainstream adoption of those things, and where you can then interact, because that would be another virtual space where I could interact with people. Like Randy, I could interact with you, right? And I could freaking see your vault and stuff. That would be so fun. Like
that'd be great.
That, right? Like, and I think that there would be a lot of meetups. So the potential is there. I think some of the technology does need to come up, but from the user experience, with Steve Jobs' quote, I do think that there's some things that VeVe could be working on to better the user experience that they're just missing right now.
It's something that I think would be fun. I guess I'll answer this question as well. That I don't want to say the user experience does matter, but I think the sentiment trumps that. And if the sentiment was higher, the experience wouldn't matter as much, or it'd be talked about less. If people's vault values were climbing, if people were making money, if the bull market was here, then it wouldn't need to be as fun. We wouldn't need to find this many solutions. People would be having fun just because they're seeing the vault values rise. When Earth 2 came out, the only thing that you could really do was buy these tiles that were on this computer, and it was a 1-to-1 map of Earth. But that was it. You couldn't build anything. You couldn't buy. You could buy and sell tiles. That was it. But everyone was having a blast because they saw, oh, I'm making a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. And again, you couldn't do anything. Their metaverse still isn't out, but they post teases of it all the time. I think that if they could find a way to just get new users, which again shouldn't be that hard, at least to get their monthly active users up. Again, though, I'm not head of this company. I don't make those decisions. Anyway, something that you mentioned, though, being able to go and interact with people's apps. In Earth 2, they have something called a warring world and a normal world. And in the warring world, you can have stuff happen, and you could be subject and vulnerable to attacks and other things. You can turn it off, and you don't get your land destroyed. You don't get your stuff done, but you don't receive any of the benefits either. I think it would be amazing if VeVe were to be able to sell VeVe branded like spray paint, and then you could go in and like tag other people's vaults, be like Chavez was here, or be like, this is not property of Dr. Stuff, or like Crypto Rain for life. I think some of that would be really fun. The one, you would have to agree to have certain other users do that, because you just have haters go in and be like, Chavez, unalive yourself like every day. And I'm like, that could be funny for the first couple times, but after a while that could get old. So I think something like that, like again, just being able to show up in other people's vaults and just leave a little message, even if it's only something you could see, I think that'd be fun. Outside of that, we had a bunch of stackers this past week. Expert 44 purchased 517 collectibles. Zojman purchased 654. Mr. MC1 purchasing 1,563 collectibles.
Damn.
That is wild.
He is on a roll.
That is wild.
Yeah, he's close to 10,000 now. He's got, not as of Sunday, he had 9,733. So he'll be reaching that 10,000. So it's wild that you could have 10,000 collectibles and not be in the top 10 on the top 500. That's insane.
I thought that I was doing, because I kind of went ham on several things, right? Like I went for that Marvel 85 and I bought a freaking lot of those and didn't get a secret rare, which I'm still super bummed about. And like I went ham. Like I say ham. I think I probably bought like, I don't know, 150 to 200 comics and collectibles, and like didn't show up on anything.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, because I was like, oh yeah, like this will be cool. No, nothing. And when someone's buying over 1,000, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a ton of those Aliens vs Avengers comics, which the commons are like, commons are like $9 now. It's like, oh, nice. So that's pretty cool. We had an influencer, the Modern Investor, post the other day. He now has 1,700 comics. He says that 99% of people have no idea what's valuable or what is valuable in the real world. Take advantage of it. There are little treasures on the app for $7 each now. He's been very vocal about buying more OMI, trying to get as much as he can, and about these VeVe collectibles. He's really big on comics. He did say he would come on the podcast at some point, but that was like a year ago, and it hasn't happened yet. So we'll see. Something I was interested, I want your guys' opinion on it. Back when we found out that Frank Kozak had passed away, there was a couple of, like, a bunch of his stuff like went up, and a lot of it came back down, but because couldn't make any more stuff, some of the stuff was really scarce. When James Earl Jones died, passed away a couple of days ago, I was expecting Vader to go up. I mean, we don't have a Mufasa on there, but I have Simba. But Vader, it didn't look like it moved. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that this legend passing away did not impact the price of the Vaders? Too much of a disconnect?
Yeah, market's really boring right now, right? So the crypto market in general, which affects VeVe, digital collectibles, it's a whole new field, and it takes a while to really catch steam. Like one of the comments earlier was something about there's reason why a large part of the community is disgruntled with VeVe. Really, the reason why a large part of the community is disgruntled with VeVe is because price is down.
Great.
And that's what happens in bear markets. Like if nothing else was different, but all the collectibles were up 50x from here, I'm pretty sure everyone would be like super pumped on the VeVe app and everything's the rosiest they've ever seen. So it's just price is down, and this is what happens in bear markets. It's still early days for this technology, and it's still being built out and implemented, and so like there's not as much utility as we would like yet. Like these are still technology companies. It takes a while to roll this out. Yeah, exactly. Wes says I have 3,000 comics, never read one of them. Like a lot of the people here are speculators. I'm a speculator. I'm buying because I think this idea of digital collectibles is going to be huge. Now, part of me is a collector, but not like a true, like huge collector. I'm more of an investor, and I'm here because it's the early days of massive intellectual property along the lines of digital collectibles, and this is where it's going. And I think that's going to be huge in the future, but it does come in waves. So later on, as price going up in crypto, people will be like, oh, digital collectibles. Oh my gosh, James Earl Jones did Darth Vader and James Earl Jones isn't around. So had that happened in a bull market, absolutely Vader would have pumped. In a bear market, like didn't make a dent.
No. Great. Wes also he's the #1 owner of Hulk 181. He has a stack of 120 of those. It's just bananas. Now, Wes, I could understand like the older comics that you get. Yeah, those stories are a little outdated. The language is a little outdated. But please read Aliens vs. Avengers. It is so good. Just 10 out of 10 would recommend reading. Hi. We can't hear you, but what up?
Wait, what the? Whatever.
Yeah, get it. Cowabunga, dude. Dan O says, we have a lot more speculators than Kaki Gaijins, who's a true user because the user experience is boring, frankly, says he. I love Kaki Gaijin. He's got like a bunch of Annas. He's just a cool dude. It should be fun regardless of sentiment. I mean, I think it is. I mean, it is what you make of it. I mean, I don't want to give a girl a stick. What does she do? Like nothing. Give a boy a stick. It's a sword. It's a wand. It's something cool to play with. Like it's about imagination. So have you seen some of like the vaults of these like vault builders? It's absolutely bananas. It's like being on Lucy without being on Lucy, going through some of their vaults. it's insane. So I think it is fun, but it is what you make it. In my opinion.
Well, and hey, shout out to Tails. I got to give shout out to Tails. Tails from the Rizzo, guys. If you don't know who that is, look that up on Twitter. Tails from the Rizzo. He started working in Unreal Engine 5 and put together this awesome little video with the VeVe Collectibles, right? And it's so fun. And he's one of the ones who they did a preview of the VeVe verse and with something that he had built. Incredibly talented, and there's so many of them too that are out there. I do think that some of them are just kind of waiting for an easier way to build, and so I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to the VeVe verse. I would love an update. Did you talk about that, Randy? Like an update from the team in AMA, because I know that's on the talking points. But yeah,
I kind of brought it up before. As just like, hey, it's something that just for communication. I didn't specifically mention VeVeverse, but for that, I understand that like, hey, we have a bunch of NDAs with, because we know there's going to be multiple worlds there. We only know one of them though, and only one of them is going to be Ron English's Delusionville. But we all know that. So can we just get like a 5-second clip of us running? Can we know the mechanics? Can we know like what to do? Like Tengoku Saizen, Tengoku, whatever game that is that's using OMI, we've had a bunch of trailers for that, and that looks fun. I'll play that. But like, how can you get excited about something when there's literally no content? Again, I'm not saying to give us a 30-minute trailer like Earth 2 does, but show us the engine, show us what it could look like if you have a good graphics card, a good computer. Because it's that's like one of the most frustrating things that I've been screaming from the hilltops on, and I just haven't gotten nowhere. But yeah, Crypto Cosmos says what people really want is the ability to make money off the drops. That's what drove hundreds of thousands to the app last bull run, and that's what will drive millions to VeVe the next NFT bull run. I agree. Soon, one day. Moving on. Was Cosmo correct? But in the meantime, need a better user experience and more updates to keep people interested. People leaving because of boredom and losing money. Again, fair point. VeVe Digital Collectibles posts in the I'm with you till the end. Are you excited for Venom: The Last Dance? I don't see any reason for them to go in and post about any type of Marvel or Disney movie trailer unless they had something to do with it. We already have, I don't know, any speculation on what we can get here? And for the movie, it could be a poster. I know posters typically don't do too well, but we already have a Venom statue. The Venom statue is doing pretty well, going for $130. I don't know who else might be there. Other characters in The Last Dance. I haven't seen the trailer. Have you guys seen that yet? Neither have I. Sleeping Comics says pick of Null from the Venom trailer. With Venom 3, it's his first appearance. Yes, it is available on VeVe. This is my opinion. He'll have a small cameo. Hopefully leads to an Avengers, MCU, Sony Spider-Man crossover type movie. In the comics, he's a Thanos level bad guy. Do you guys have that over on VeVe? The first appearance of Null?
Yeah.
Oh,
Venom 3, right? Isn't that where he's Venom 3 comic?
Yeah, that's the new trailer. Yeah. Did you read that? How was it?
I have not read that one. I should. I've just recently been getting into reading the comics, and because that's one thing I'm like, to Wes's point, I mean, that's what I had basically done. It wasn't until Hulk 181 actually where I was like, I want to read the first appearance of Wolverine. I've never done that, and so that was I loved it, man. It was old. And yeah, they're way better written comics nowadays, but just like the nostalgia of that, like, and just reading the origins, I really enjoyed it. And so then I was like, you know what, like, I need to get more into this. So I'm like next on the list, which is actually like a lot bigger book, because back in the day, like these comics used to be a lot bigger, right, than they are now. I need to read Marvel #1. I need to read that. can't believe I haven't read that yet. The thing that kicked it all off. I got to read that. You guys should read these. Start reading some of these comics, man. And I'd love to hear what people think. So,
yeah, the older ones are a little harder to read. They have because it's just the language is different, the stories are different, the writing is different. Which again, some people love that. I mean, I guess it depends. Like, I still like the what are those what was that Outer Limitsy show? It's like the most popular one. Twilight Zone. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like that was made like 50, 60 years ago. And it's still good, man. I still like it. Still fun. But the Secret Wars ones, the Civil War ones, they're so heckin' good. Anything written by Jonathan Hickman is amazing. I love him. So we're going for about an hour 10. Y'all have anything else that you want to go over?
oh yeah, man. I got tons of stuff, man.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
My talking points. What the heck? You liked them.
I did. Didn't we go over something? Let's see where we're at here.
We did some of them. Guys, I have for those of you who don't know, Tops Now, they did this deal with the U.S. men's Olympic basketball team, okay? And basically you could buy a card for $5, blind box, and with the chance to pull a 1 of 1, which is a signed LeBron, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant card, okay? And I believe it has I think that's the signature, but and shout out to Comics and Crypto. They've talked about Ken Golden. If you guys have ever seen The Golden Touch on Netflix, if you haven't, and you're in the VeVe community, you need to watch that. You would love it. And Ken Golden has liked some of Comics and Crypto stuff, like and Comics and Crypto, like I believe that they kind of reaching out to him and talking to him about like digital collectibles, right? Like I think that Ken is coming around to that, and it would be huge to have him, sometime down the line, like where we could auction off some of our collectibles on his website or something, something like that. But anyways, so in here are 5 Tops Now cards. The 1 of 1 has not been pulled, but Ken Golden, there's been multiple offers. The first offer was for $100,000. And this guy said, listen, if you pull this, I will straight up pay you $100,000. Then someone else offered $200,000. Ken Golden has said, I will guarantee you $300,000 if you will put it on my auction site, right? And he's like, so a minimum of $300,000. He's like, but it could go higher, and we'll see. So I am going to be doing a live poll. I have not opened this, and we're going to see if I'm about to become $300,000 richer. Y'all ready for this?
Wait, before you do that, I would shop around and see if any other auction house like Heritage or whatever would be able to do that, because whenever I remember when that Magic the Gathering card was pulled, like that 1 of 1, and like I think Post Malone bought or whatever. So Beckett was doing a bunch of promos for that and like giving it like posting a video of what it would look like as a BGS 10 with like sight unseen, just to try to get it on there. And the person wound up going to like PSA, and they wound up doing it there. But I think a lot of these auction houses and these grading houses are really competing with each other. So I would shop around and see, like, you might be able to get guaranteed more for it. But either way, keep going.
Okay. All right.
Get this bread.
I've never done it, so I don't know how these how this comes out. So I don't like we're gonna see here, okay? I'm gonna kind of like try to pull this sideways. Okay, so it looks like all 5 cards, and I'm trying to like not. I don't know how this happens. I don't know how, but it looks like all 5 cards are in a case. So let me try to open this here, and you guys are gonna see it, and I'm gonna try to watch in the reaction. I don't even know. I'm gonna show the first card here, and I don't know what side this is on because I want to make sure. Okay, so here is the first card, whatever it is. All right.
Okay.
All right. So not the 1 of 1, but Curry, James, and Durant. So, okay. I don't know. Like, and I think that there's potential for different versions of this. Okay, number 2. It looks like the exact same card.
The exact same thing.
Yeah, and that and they might all be. They might.
Are they all going to be that? Ooh. How rare is this card?
Guys, number 3.
Yep.
Same card.
Same one.
Come on.
How rare is it? It's got to.
How rare is what?
The card, like how many people, like how many are there? Do we know?
I don't know. All right.
It looks like the next one. Yeah,
Same one.
No. Oh no, this is gonna be like my Iron Man pulls, right? They're all just like the common. Okay, guys, last shot here. Please, something special. Something.
Same.
The same. They are all the freaking same. Boo to that. Well,
sell one, trade one. You got a couple left.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm going to be able to sell these.
Yeah.
But no, but like I'll keep one, man. It's so cool. But yeah, big disappointment that I didn't get like any, because I believe that they have like different. I can't remember what they call them, like fractals, or so there's more than just the 1-of-1s. You know, there are rarer cards here, but yep, these all are the exact same cards. So thanks for nothing, Tops.
Maybe you got 5 of the 5 most rare ones. We don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure that these are not the rare ones.
No.
But this is a pretty cool card case. So I think I just paid $50 for this really nice card case.
Yeah,
that's cool. We like the card cases. What else do you have?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me hit this up and make sure. Let's see. Oh, did we talk about and to your point, Randy, I'm sorry, we did cover a decent amount of the things that I listed on there, so my bad. But like the StackR launch date of OMI to NFT, did we really cover like when we think that is?
Not this week, no. My guess is sometime before the end of the year. We had a commenter user says not until 2025, said that as a matter of factly. I offered to bet $1,000 on that. The person refused, but again, that's my opinion that we get that before 2025, towards the end of the year. I mean, for all I know, it could happen the end of this month. I doubt it. I think they'd like to get through New York Comic Con first and then do all that. But that's my opinion. What do y'all think?
I agree that I think it's before the end of the year. And I'm thinking maybe this is being optimistic, but like I think, look, they've definitely been bringing in new beta testers faster than anything we've seen with the VeVe burst, that's for sure. But so if they go at that rate, like I could see where they're like, hey, we've got some high volume there, and we need to like. We're ready, because I think that's the biggest thing is they just want this to be a good experience, and so I say November, probably like early to mid-November. So I'm going to say decent month and a half before the end of the year, if not sooner.
Preach. What about you, Rain?
I think November is a pretty good guess. I think they're just. Sometimes with software development, like especially since you can transfer people's collectibles with it, as well as transfer money, they can always reverse the collectible transfer. I don't know that they can easily reverse the OMI transfer, so they're just being cautious with it, which is smart, right? So, like, do I wish it was already done? Yes. Is that realistic? No. When is it going to happen? November is a pretty good guess.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Do it right before Thanksgiving. Like, all right, this is what I'm doing all weekend. That'd be fun.
I think that's a great call, though, Rain, on the fact of like they have to make sure that there is nothing wrong with the transfer of OMI when you're purchasing you're purchasing these collectibles, and that it doesn't get stuck in something, or you know what I mean, that it's seamless. That is so crucial, because like you said, yeah, you can't reverse those because it's on the blockchain. It's a blockchain transaction.
Yeah.
So that is a fair point. That anyways, yeah.
Great. And then the last thing I think we had on that was the actually no, I think that was it. Did the bounty, we did the StackR date, and I think we did the rest of them. So, Brain, you got anything?
Yeah, I like Herb O&B's comment. We don't hear from Herb hardly ever, but
Yeah.
software development 2 weeks equals times 10.
Yeah.
It often does work out that way, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's it, we're going to say thank you to everyone for being here. We love you all. Obviously, we'll talk off camera for a bit. Everybody
All right.
say
See you, everyone.
bye-bye.
Peace out, Dashy. Peace out, everyone. Hey, wait, hold on. I forgot one more thing. I got to shout out Candy, right? Because Candy sent me this. I ordered a large. I feel like it says large, but I feel like this is a medium, so it's a little snug, if you will. But this is an epic shirt that I won, like in one of their contests. This is actually like a patch that's sewn on this thing. It's high quality. So I won this shirt from Candy, and I promised them that when I got it, I would shout them out. So shout out to you, Candy. I appreciate that, and I love that there's this competition in this space, right? And hopefully, like, they continue to push each other, and we just get a better overall experience as different platforms put out different things, and the platforms are constantly competing. So, Candy, appreciate all that you guys do in this space. Really, from just the baseball cards to the DC stuff, I love that. Cryptoid, shout out to you too, right? For just continuing to push this space forward.
Preach. All right, thanks, guys.
Candy Digital. Yeah, Candy Digital. Big A.
All right. We'll see y'all.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Yeah.